Hey guys, welcome to another Reaper blog tutorial. In this video, we're going to look at some basics of using synthesizers. Every synthesizer has the same basic set of controls. There's an oscillator or some sort of sound source. There's a mixer for combining your sound sources. There's an envelope generator, which creates the curve of the sound over time. There's a filter, and there's an LFO generator. Most synths have multiple oscillators. They might have different types of filters. They might have effects like chorus and delay. They'll all have the same basic controls: oscillator, mixer, filter, LFO, and envelope. To demonstrate this, we've got Tal Noisemaker on the left here, play note, Sinister in the middle, and Tyrell. These are all free synths, and I've got them all set to basically the same sound. So let's go around these three synths and look for master volume. This is a good place to start. On Tal Noisemaker, the master volume is here. In Sinister, it's up here at the top. And on Tyrell, it's over here. In Tal Noisemaker, there are two oscillators here, Oscillator 1 and Oscillator 2. Sinister, there are three oscillators. In Tyrell, there are two oscillators, this one here and this one here. For the mixer section, Noisemaker has the mixer section in the master section here, Oscillator 1, Oscillator 2. There's an additional sub-frequency oscillator here. To blend in the sounds, we use these three controls here, and then an overall volume. In Sinister, we have gain controls for each of the oscillators, plus on-off. So this is our mixer section. In Tyrell, it's in the center area, labeled mixer. Volume for Oscillator 1, Oscillator 2, sub-oscillator, noise generator, ring mod, and feedback. Next up is the LFO. LFO stands for low frequency oscillator. An oscillator is a tone generator, and the low frequency oscillator is used as a control signal for different parts of your synthesizer. These are controls that you can use to adjust other things automatically. Here in Noisemaker, we've got LFO in the Synth 1 section. There's also a second LFO. In Sinister, we've got the LFO section right here, the three different LFOs that can be assigned to anything. On Tyrell, LFOs are right here, LFO 1 and LFO 2. Now, all synthesizers have an envelope section. See it here, ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, and release. So we have these faders here, and there's a nice graph here that displays basically what each part of the sound is. In Sinister, our envelopes are in this tab here. We've got three different envelopes. And in Tyrell, we have two different envelopes. Lastly is the filter section. In Noisemaker, it's this section here. Cutoff frequency is you choose a frequency that where the sound will be filtered, and the resonance is a boost at that frequency. And in Noisemaker, there is an additional ADSR envelope just for the filter. In Sinister, there are two filters. There are adjustable high and low pass and lots of options there. And in Tyrell, filter section here, cutoff frequency, resonance. Those are the basics of every synth, and knowing where those parts are, you can get most of the way there to getting the sound that you want. Okay, so let's go back to Tal Noisemaker. Let's go through the different oscillator options here. Right now we're using a single oscillator with a sawtooth waveform. To help see what these different waveforms look like, I'm going to bring in the oscilloscope meter. So now when I hit a key, right, it's this jagged sawtooth shape. Now, if we put it on pulse, also known as square wave, it has this square shape. And as we're playing with the square wave shape, we can change the pulse width. And then noise is just a noise generator. Oscillator 2 has a couple more options. We have triangle and we have sine. So triangle wave, switch our oscillators here. Looks exactly like a triangle. And sine wave is a smooth curve. Okay, so now let's look at the envelopes. So we're going to start with oscillator 1. Let's see what happens when we use a longer attack. So down at the bottom is the lowest. Creates a long fade in. Let's do a small amount of sustain. Bring our decay up, or bring this up just a little bit. The sound rises up, it hits a peak, and it starts to gradually go down and then stay at the same level until I release the key. So let's bring that down a bit lower. In a much more exaggerated way there. Release is opposite of attack. It's a fade out. And once again, it's the same on any synthesizer you use. The envelope shape is going to be the same. And to help us demonstrate the filter, let's use the frequency spectrum analyzer. All right, so I play a note. Let's just sustain this indefinitely like this. This is a low pass filter, which cuts off everything higher than the cutoff frequency. Now the resonance control adds a boost at that frequency. This filter section has the option of changing the steepness. That was a 24 decibel per octave filter. We have a lot of different options here. So let's try a 12 dB per octave high pass filter. So that's going to do the opposite effect of what we had before. It cuts off the low frequencies and leaves the highs. A bandpass filter cuts the lows and the highs. Leaving just a narrower frequency range. A notch filter is a little less common, but basically it's the opposite of a bandpass filter, and it's just cutting one narrow frequency range. Let's put this into a more practical use. Let's grab our 24 dB low pass filter, and let's use the envelope for this as well. To use the envelope with the filter, like most synths, it needs to be set with a contour amount, or there's some sort of control to choose how much of the envelope is applied to the filter and in which direction. So on Noisemaker, we've got this contour knob here. I can reverse the direction. Like that. And on Tyrell, it's this option here, mod 1. So I've got our saw wave and our envelope 2 is used for the filter. And if we increase this, it can't go any higher because the cutoff frequency is already all the way up. So let's put it about halfway, bit of resonance. Pretty simple, but it's one of the foundations of shaping the sound of a synthesizer. Okay, so now let's look at the LFO in Tyrell. There's 2 LFOs here, and each one can be assigned to a different oscillator shape. sine wave, triangle, saw up and down, and square wave, high to low or low to high. Let's start with sine wave. And this one has the option of syncing to your project's tempo, right here. Or we can change the rate manually with this control. There's also a delay here to delay the start of it. We do still have that envelope. So double click to reset. In the filter section, we have mod 2, and the source is LFO 1. So we're routing the low frequency oscillator into the control signal for the filter. If we want this cutoff frequency to go downwards, we want to turn the modulation contour knob down or to the left side. Before we can hear the effect of the LFO, we need to tell it what is going to trigger it. So often this is mod wheel, but we're going to use gate, which basically means when a key is pressed. So I press a key, and now we're applying this 16th note modulation in a sine wave shape to the filter. We can scale back the amount. Change the direction. And let's hear these different shapes. Triangle. It's similar. Saw down. And random. And let's try it with a really long LFO rate. So let's go back to sine wave. Saw. Saw down. And square. So there you go, guys. Those are the basic components that you'll find in any synthesizer. The synths I've shown you here are all free. I hope this helps you be less intimidated with using synthesizers. A lot of them are very similar once you break them down into different components, and then each one has its own quirks and things that make it great. Hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Keep up to date with all the tutorials, putting them out 3 days a week, and also visit reaperblog.net for a lot more.